problem of brotherhood or kinship, of the causes of the unbrotherly unkindred, that is, the unpeaceful state of the world, and of the means for the restoration of kinship. A memorandum from the unlearned to the learned, clergy and laity, believers and non-believers. Why is it that the words peace and world are not synonymous? Why does peace, according to some, exist only in the world beyond, and according to others, neither in this world nor beyond it? Why is nature not a mother, but a stepmother who refuses to feed us? Participation of all in material comfort, or participation of all in the work, essentially voluntary, of understanding the blind force which brings hunger, disease, and death, and transforming it into a life-giving force. In 1891, the disastrous year when crop failure in many of the provinces constituting the granary of Russia caused a famine which threatened to become endemic, and when rumors of war were rife, we suddenly heard of experiments in rain-making by means of explosives, that is, by the very substances which hitherto were used solely for wars, foreign and domestic, such as resolutions, dynamite attacks, and so on. The coincidence of this famine caused by drought and the discovery of how to combat it by means used hitherto only for mutual annihilation could not fail to produce a shattering effect on those on the verge of starvation, as well as on those who had relatives of military age. And not on them alone. Indeed, people have done all possible evil to nature, depletion, destruction, predatory exploitation, and to each other, inventing most abominable arms and implements of mutual extermination. Even roads and other means of communication, the pride of modern man, serve merely strategic and commercial purposes, war and gain. Profit makers look upon nature as a storehouse from which to extract the wherewithal for a comfortable and enjoyable life, destroying and squandering nature's wealth accumulated over centuries. This could lead to despair, because there was everywhere only evil to be seen, without a glimmer of hope. Now suddenly, like a joyous ray of light for those dwelling in darkness and under the shadow of death, come the good tidings that those very means of mutual annihilation may become means of salvation from hunger. Here is hope that an end may be put to both famine and war. Moreover, an end to war without disarmament, for the latter is not possible. Even unbelievers, even professed atheists, can hardly fail to see in this possibility of transforming a great evil into a great blessing, a sign of divine providence. Here is a completely new proof of the existence of God and His providence, a proof derived no longer from contemplating the purposefulness of the natural order, but from acting and from influencing it in real life. Is it not indeed a manifestation of God's great mercy to man, who seems to have reached the limits of perversity, sinning against both nature and his fellow beings, and even rejecting the very existence of God? Yet from the pulpit comes a voice saying, "Beware of this audacity which seeks to bring down rain from heaven by means of gunfire." But if gunfire cannot be condemned out of hand, even when it brings death, for example, in the defense of the homeland, why should it be condemned when it brings life and saves people from starvation? Is it not rather the carrying out of God's will? Having created man, did He not enjoin him to possess the earth and all that is upon it? So why is it wicked insolence and even sacrilege to redirect a cloud from a place where its rain could be harmful to one where it would be beneficial? To channel water from a stream or river for irrigation is not regarded as obstructing God's will, so why should redirecting moisture for human needs, not from a stream, but from atmospheric currents, be contrary to God's will? The more so when this is done not for the sake of luxury or fun, but to provide our daily bread. If the censure expressed in the sermon, "The Christian Way in Natural Science," referred solely to plans envisaged by the Americans to patent their discovery and thus make a holy act of succor into a financial speculation, then one could bow to the wisdom of the condemnation. However, our hopes are based not on the possibility of bringing about rain by firing a few cannon shots, but on that of controlling moist and dry air currents over vast territories by concerted action, which would require the joint efforts of the armies of all nations. Consequently, it could not become a private financial speculation. Even if our hopes of rainmaking by means of explosions were to be thwarted, the value of the hypothesis would remain, since it points to an operation involving the whole human race. Other means used in warfare might be found to regulate meteorological phenomena. Consider, for instance, the suggestion of V.N. Karazin, who pioneered the setting up of the Ministry of Education and the foundation of the University of Kharkov, for raising lightning conductors on balloons into the upper strata of the atmosphere. Balloons are not yet used as military equipment, but might be in future. At the present time, everything is put to the service of war. There is not a single invention which the military are not bent on applying to warfare, not a single discovery which they fail to turn to military purposes. So if it were made the duty of the armies to adapt everything now used in warfare for controlling natural forces, this duty would automatically become the common task of humanity as a whole.